Petar Janjic, thanks for coming on Analog Dialogue. How you doing, man?
Brody, good man. Great.
Good.
Just another beautiful rainy day here in Nash Vegas.
Sweet. Are you in Nashville these days?
Yeah, I'm based in Nashville as of now, and in the last, I guess, right pre-pandemic, I would say, like mid of 2019, I moved and went on tour with Corey for basically 5 months, and literally our last show was in Paris, March 3rd, and we flew in like day later. We flew back from Paris, and we were like talking about like COVID being a thing, and it was
Yeah.
just insanity.
Yeah. It's weird to think about that, eh, man? Like where you were, like the last big thing that you did, before like the
It's
lockdown.
so crazy. You get these like I get like when every morning you wake up and you like I don't know, my iPhone has this a memory thing. You're like, oh, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and it's just so insane to see. Like it's just man, what happened to 2020? Like
Yeah.
there's no memories in that year.
But gigs are starting to come back for you though, right? Like you're starting to do.
Slowly but surely, knock on wood. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Great. Great. Well, I don't want to get too deep into this. So I guess just before we get things really rolling, if someone's watching that has never heard of what you do, could you
Yeah.
like describe your presence in the arts industry?
Well, hello, Internet. I am Petar Janjic. I am a drummer. Uh, I'm most of you probably have seen me with Corey Wong of Wolfpack, and I do tend to play with other various. I played with my friend Brody here. I recorded the song. I do
Yeah.
session work. I try to do as much as possible as well. I play with Scott Mulvihill and similar artists to him. But again, mostly seen with Corey Wong.
Sweet. Sweet, man. Yeah. So like I've seen you play live a couple of times. In like in when you came through Toronto.
The
Um,
Horseshoe Tavern.
yeah, man, at the Horseshoe.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And what was the other one? What was the big
The, the other one was, I think it was like Phoenix, or
Phoenix?
I think
Wait,
Phoenix or the Danforth, I think it was.
oh, maybe you're right.
I always get
It's
the sort
after,
of
yeah.
medium-sized clubs all
I
mixed up.
remember the Horseshoe Tavern though. That was a fun. That entire tour was such a fun experience. That was my first time in Canada. That was my first time
Oh, okay.
in Toronto and in Canada in general, and I was blown away. Like to me, like Canada's Toronto especially was like the mixture of Europe and the States.
Mm,
I
yeah.
see that. See, except it was that year when we were there was the polar vortex. It was
Right.
so cold,
It was very
and
cold that year, man.
I remember the band. We kind of played rock paper scissors. Who's gonna do laundry? And I lost. And there was a laundromat literally like 4 blocks from the hotel. I'm like, I'm gonna walk this. I
Bad idea,
it
man.
was I Ubered back. I was like, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not like I was wrapped in like two sweaters, coat, and I'm like just wind is like in my face. I was just man, not a good day to lose this.
Yeah. Yeah, especially like being in between all those high buildings, the wind just like cuts through, man. It's nasty.
Insane,
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. But yeah, so I was at the Horseshoe show, and then the Danforth one was Scott Mulvihill was opening that show,
Yes,
on that tour. Um but I mean, like I have to tell you, like you're like easily one of the most entertaining drummers that I've seen live. Like you
thanks,
got
man.
the like you guys have the kit right up at the front of the stage.
Well,
It's
it's. I talked to Corey about that before even
yeah.
the first tours. We were usually I was behind, but Corey and myself, we went to school together. We played all get like sorts of gigs before even like any of the Corey Wong music was released, or before even he was in Wolfpack. And we developed such a symbiotic energy that we really hype each other and feed each other off stage. Like the
Yeah.
first tour when I was sitting behind him, it was sometimes weird for him because he would look at me and just turn his back to the audience.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was just, wait, why don't we just do basically a V shape? I'm on one side, Kevin's on one side, and we're like, and Corey's in the middle. And that way he can just do like, it worked out perfectly. And
Yeah.
again, to me, it's like playing music. I can say, like, I get the question, like, what's your dream gig, whatever. I'm like, well, not gonna lie, this is kind of a dream gig because one of my best friends is crushing, and I'm just there for the ride, but also just keeping him hype, keeping the band hype. It's just literally having a great time.
Yeah. That's so awesome, man. Like, because I was listening to some other interviews that you did, and you were talking about like moving to America from Serbia, like to study like in music school, right? And like that was the big thing that you wanted to do, right? Was like, I want to, like, talking to your parents, I want to move to America, go to school, study music there. So like that. So you're saying at school, that's where you and Corey met?
Yeah. So as a kid in Serbia, my dad's the drummer as well. He was pretty,
Okay.
he doesn't play as much now, but back in the day, extremely sick, awesome drummer. He kind of got me into the whole American music. Like first record, he played me James Brown, Toto, uh, Weather Report. I had all these VHSs from all these like drummers, like Dennis Chambers, Steve Gadd, all
Yeah.
the greats. And dream was to come to America and do that, and ended up pulling the trigger and coming to the States. Got a full ride scholarship at McNally Smith College of Music. It's not a school anymore. It went out of business, but that's where I met Corey. That's where I met
Mm.
Kevin Gastangwe. Met everyone in Minneapolis. I met through that school, and it was such a connection to so many friends of mine that I'm still like currently friends with, and it's awesome. But yeah, Corey went to McNally. He was I think a couple of years older than me, a couple of grades older than me. So literally when Corey graduated, I just got in,
Mm.
and from mutual friends, word of mouth, you should play with Corey Wong. And he would hear, Corey, you should meet the Serbian kid. And we met at a jazz club, and kind of, I don't know, we just hit it off pretty fast. And
Yeah.
here we are, 2021, and we met, what, 2009? I
Crazy,
think, yeah,
man.
2009. We met 2009.
Yeah. So like how did how did you get your footing sort of in like this, or in this kind of new community when you moved over to the States?
Basically, the drum head of McNally at the time, the department head, was Gordy Knudsen. Gordy Knudsen, insane studio drummer, plays with the Stephen Miller Band, and
Okay.
he's been on the gig for 30 or something years. Gordy's a staple in Minneapolis. Like, if you don't know, if you're a drummer or even a musician or a studio guy, and if you don't know of Gordy, like, man, you're missing out. Anyways, I owe that man made everything happen for me. Like,
Hmm.
made sure that I get a full ride scholarship, both for my master's and my bachelor's degree, and made sure hook me up with lawyers for my visa and for my green card. Like, legitimately, that man is one of the sole reasons why I'm in this country. Uh,
Wow.
but him being known in Minneapolis, and he knew where the spots were, where to go. So literally the first day of McNally, I was just kind of walking with him in the hallways, and I'm like, what do I need to do? I am ready to do whatever I need to do to show you that I want to be on a professional gig. I want to put the work in. I don't care what it is. And he was like, well, let's start with this. You should figure out how to go to the Bunkers. Bunkers is a bar, basically a dive bar in downtown Minneapolis. It's off of Washington Street. Bunkers is my school. Is
Hmm.
that is my college. Not to diss any of my McNally people, but that's where I got everything I needed to like build myself into the drummer and musician that I am today.
Yeah.
Basically, through McNally, I met Johannes, who is a bass player that plays occasionally He's on the Dave Koz and Corey Wong record. But Johannes was the house bass player with a band called Dr. Mambo's Combo. Dr. Mambo's Combo is basically Sonny Thompson from the New Power Generation, Michael Bland, Billy Franzi, Margaret Cox, Julius Collins, all these legendary musicians in Minneapolis. And the place is so epic. Like, oh, I would go there literally and watch the band, and I would turn and Prince is behind me, sitting, just hanging. Anyone that, like, John Mayer went there. Anybody who was in town on tour, and if they're there on a Sunday or a Monday, they would go to Bunkers. Like,
That's
I'm like,
yeah.
the random like Demi Lovato, Nick Jonas Brothers. It was just the funniest. But if you see this place, it's like, what in the world? And this band is slamming, playing the B-sides, like B-side R&B, and not playing, like, they're selling like the freaking record in there, and it's just insane. And in my head, I'm 19. Johannes was kind enough, saw the potential and the hunger in my eyes. Like, dude, I need to go. I need to watch this. So he made like a deal with the bouncers. They put an X on my hand as long as I don't drink any alcohol, whatever. And I sit like close to the stage. I'm like, hey man, you don't have to twist my arm. I'll be there all the time.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't want to blab as much, but the first time I went there, I am in front like this, just I don't think I blinked the first set. I'm just looking at Michael Bland like this.
Yeah, he's a legend, man.
Not blinking at all. Johannes comes down to me. Hey, my man, you want to meet Mike? And I'm like, what? Come on, let me take you. Let's go up stage. Michael does not come down the stage. I'm like, okay. My English is not tight. It was not this good. So I'm already like, I have a thicker accent. I'm nervous. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. That's Michael Bland. I went through the Symbol album when I was 10, and all like these Prince DVDs, and I'm like meeting my hero right now. And sure enough, I definitely was a weirdo staring at Michael, that he noticed somebody just staring him down for like a solid hour. Johannes brings me, hey Mike, you gotta meet this guy. Yeah, man, why are you staring at me? Basically, like, kind of, what do you want?
Yeah.
Kind of vibe, I'm like, oh, hey. So like, he's like, what's your name? I'm like, I play drums. And like, what's your name? I'm from Serbia. Dude, you gotta come up here, man. What's your name? I'm like, oh, I'm Petar. Hi. And he's like, all right, man, what do you want to play? I'm like, what? Come on, you gotta sit in. You're not standing. I can see he's like, I see the thing that in your eyes that you want to be here. I'm like, nah, dude, I ain't sitting in. First of all, I'm left-handed. Number one. Number two, I'm not gonna just jump and sit in. How about, and I'm like, how about you tell me a song that I could play, and I will come next week prepared, and I'll play that one song. And honestly, I think he was just, I like your game plan. I like your strategy. Play September. I'm like, okay. And I remember, dude, I flipped the kit in the practice room, and I was playing backwards, just all day. Show up, I sit in. Michael doesn't leave the stage. He's just there next to me, looking at me like,
oh my God. Yeah.
I'm like, what is going on right now? And I'm just, don't look at him in the eyes. Just don't look him in the eyes. Just crush it. Here comes the chorus. Right cymbals up here. I'm like, okay, this is great. I get done. I come down like, hey man, let me talk to you after the set. So he comes back, finishes the set. Like, hey man, what do you think? How was it? Like, great feel. Like it's just, when you hit the chorus, you kind of rushed a little bit. I'm like, yeah, I played kind of like, you're like, it blew me away because he was so honest and so direct. And I'm like, yeah, I did, didn't I? Huh? And
of course, you would notice that too, man. Like, Like that guy lives on the grid.
Yes,
Like,
it lives on the grid, but I'm like, I'm playing backwards too. But I'm like,
yeah,
don't
yeah,
use
oh,
any
yeah,
excuses. You can be better. I will be better.
yeah.
You know what? I started showing up every Sunday, Monday. I showed up at 9:30 right before the band started. And left at 2:05, like 2:10, right when the band was leaving. I would
Yeah.
stay and hang and go to school every Monday at like 7 a.m., 7 something a.m. and just figure it out. But the only way I would miss a Sunday and Monday at Bunkers the first 3, 4 years was if I was in Serbia, if I went to see my family. Otherwise, I would be there all the time.
Yeah.
And year after, so Michael had me coming more, sitting in more, playing more songs. This is, I mean, maybe you'll see this interview, maybe we'll not, but the best Michael lesson I've ever experienced and dealt with, like on a whole different level. He was like, it was one of those classic sitting nights. Hey, sit in. What do you want to play? And like at this time, I know the repertoire decently. Like, how about what you're gonna do for me? Like, or maybe Denise Williams, Free, or something like that. Like something that I can become comfortable playing backwards. Nah, man.
So,
How about I got dreams to remember. It was I think, is that Curtis Mayfield
man, I have no
or
idea.
Otis Redding.
Okay, okay.
It's a ballad. It's a 6/8 ballad. It's no. What was it? Anyways, super slow song. I got dream to remember. But and I'm in my head, oh no, I can playing slow is so hard, especially backwards, just to be like, dude, I knew beat like bar 4, I knew I'm about to get it so hard.
Mm.
I get done, club's packed, band's just all like it was not terrible, but Michael just, hey man, listen, if you're gonna play slow tempos like that, don't bother coming back sitting in again. Honestly, there's no there's no room for that here, man. That's not how we roll. And just
Wow.
I'm like, dude, boop, tear, puddle, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that just sucked. It just was like a big shank. But in my like the keyboard player at the time, Bill Brown, would come up and say, man, that was not bad at all. I don't know what he's talking about. And he was like, Michael's like from say, do not listen to him. That was not good. I was,
Good.
I don't know. I was so overwhelmed, stressed, sad, but mad, not at him, but at myself.
Sure.
And
Sure.
next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I played every single slow like ballad I could find. Like something's wrong with my baby. Got me going in circles. All these B-side tunes. If you don't me by now, everything, and I would just flip the kit, play backwards. Show up 3 weeks later, and came up to Michael. Hey man, is it cool if I sit in? Could I sit in one more time? And he's like, yeah, sure. What you want to play? I got dreams to remember. Like, okay, young man. Okay, young. He would call me young samurai.
Young
All
samurai.
right, man. I played. I crushed it. He's like, oh, I play one more. Denise Williams. All right, man. You think you got them deep pockets on? I'm like, okay, okay, whatever. I got done. That was a Sunday night. I got done. He looked at his tech. Maddie was his tech at the time. Hey, Matt, pack the drums. Petar's playing that tomorrow. And I'm like, ooh, what? Hey, man, it's your time. Let's throw you to the wolves. How about can you handle the whole gig? I recorded the whole gig. I have the board mix somewhere, and
Oh, sweet.
the band was just calling all the tunes that were like, they were trying to see like, oh, let's do the big payback. So they do this big payback medley with all these hits. And
Oh my God.
not like like I have the mixes. Like, everyone's laughing. Like the singers are laughing because I'm catching everything. And they're like, "Who is this kid?" And since then, since 2010 or 11, I started subbing for Michael.
Wow.
Um, Gigs, sessions, whatever he could not do when he was out of town on tour, he would send
Hmm.
me, and we developed this such a great like Gordy. What Gordy did for me, equally Michael did to me for me on the
Mm.
musical level. That I owe that man all the respect, and he's the goat. He will, to me, he's the goat. He's one of those guys
Yeah.
that can do anything and everything. Like you want him on the country session with Dixie Chicks, he will sound like a country drummer. You want him with Soul Asylum, he's sounding like a grunge 90s dude. Play some funk with Prince. Oh yeah, he's crushing that. So
Yeah.
I don't know. That basically that was my church. That was my, and it was not just myself. Corey as well. Corey would sub for Billy. That's how Corey met the Wolf guys, through Bunkers. He was subbing for
Mm.
Billy. Theo, Jack, and Joe came and saw Corey, and they hit it off. But and that band was just, it was our college. It really was our
Yeah.
college.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, what like what do you find, like, other than being like I sort of think of you as like the big time chops drummer, like
Yeah.
you've got like chops for days, man. Like it's just
I,
ridiculous.
the thing is, I don't even see myself as that. That's amazing. But thank you. I appreciate. I like, to me, I am not a chops dude. Like it's all a bag of
Really?
tricks. And when it like serious, like I'm serious. I don't know. I am not like trying to be some like, I just don't see my, like, I know I have a certain chop ability and I know what I'm good at, but I don't
Yeah.
see myself as this. To me, it's more about honestly groove and
Mhm.
the lock with
Yes.
the band. Like having, to me, it's just when we play whatever tune we are playing, it's, I don't think about the chop as much, like, and I feel about locking in and making sure that we are all like tight.
Yeah. So what is your, what would set you apart from other drummers? Like what's your thing? Do you, if you could think
Man,
of something?
that's a really hard question. Like I don't know if I can, like I don't even know how to answer that. What would set me apart from other drummers? Oh, I got it. I'm left-handed. uh uh it's hard. It's like one thing that I do know in my playing that's maybe different from at least other drummers that play with Corey is I have maybe the Minneapolis drive, kind of the Minneapolis style. It's a specific way to play and approach the groove. So again, you have guys who are a little bit behind, who are just in the back in the pocket, just chilling, and you have guys who are, Minneapolis is just down the middle, like, and kind of aggressive bully drumming. I kind of sometimes just
Mm,
just,
right.
so I think I have that working for me. And again, I've been receiving great compliments about the ghost notes. I have a certain way that I play the snare drum and where I place, and then I choose not to place my ghost notes. I think that's a thing that it's been kind of going really well for me.
Yeah,
And of
man.
course, the
You
chop
got
thing is, the fast left hand twitch muscle. That's always gonna be.
Oh, dude. Yeah, you got more ghosts than Boo's Haunted Mansion, dude. Like it's wild.
um, but yeah, I like, it's a hard question. I don't know if that was a correct or answer. I think that's a question for, I don't know, a guy like Corey or Scott or people that I play with. I could never give you a correct. I don't think I can give you a correct answer.
Yeah. Really? Yeah. But like, yeah, I mean, I think of when I think of your playing, like the
Or
stuff
you,
that's
I track for you.
yeah. Like, so I find I mean, like if I think about you, I mean, you're totally right. Like you're sort of like right down the middle, but like, and I think I've said this before, but like your playing is like almost melodic, which is like weird to think about when talking
Yeah,
about like Kit, right? Um, but I guess like what I'm trying to say is like what like how do you go about coming up with a part for a tune? Like say when we work together, or if you're working with Corey, like how do you sort of craft a part for a song?
well, you send me a demo that can I, or even Corey, when Corey sends me a demo for a song, it's it's basically there, and he just give me three takes, give me a take that's like the demo, give me a take what you think it would be, and give me another experimental whatever take.
Sure, yeah.
um this is the great thing about Corey. What I learned from Corey is, and when you say melodic parts, it's sometimes, um again, we all grow, and Corey taught me a valuable lesson. Like when it comes to a tune and there's a certain hit he wants me to catch, he's always like, do not make an event out of it. Like there's no reason to make a big event. Give me just something subtle. And I started, since that happened, I've been thinking more and more like that. So when
Mm,
we do play and when I do a fill or when I do something, I always kind of base around the melody or whatever the background part is. I would try to catch a background part or whatever the bass line is. Uh, like the tune Design by Kimbra, when Corey wrote that, we were here in my studio just kind of messing around on Instagram Live. He came with a bass line, like, oh, dude, I've been so into Yogi Horton, amazing drummer, incredible drummer. Um, and I'm like, oh, dude, there's this sick groove that I've been kind of like inspired by Yogi Horton, and it was like, he came with the
mm,
like kind of removing the subdivision and kind of playing with the hi-hat, and it worked out well. And no matter what the tune is, I kind of try to listen what's necessary, what's not necessary.
mm.
Like your tune was so Motown, like that inspirations, like the Temptations, like all the Motown hits when they tracked your tune. So it's like, of course, I'm gonna
Yeah, yeah.
and like, and this is gonna drum break, and I kind of went like cold sweat, just something that's not a complete rip off, but as a drummer, we're all ripping off each other,
Oh
and it's
yeah.
always gonna happen,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's fine. But of course, I'm gonna rip off Clyde Stubblefield or whoever, they're legends. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think, to me, the most valuable thing that works for me is I tend to listen to a lot of music, a lot of old school music. And I kind of, that's what also another thing I picked up from Michael. The dude's a living musical encyclopedia.
Mm.
No matter if it's Rush or it's Zeppelin or it's freaking Tower of Power, dude knows every record, every fail, every chord. It's just insane. And I kind of look up to that and just started listening to Al Green, Bobby Womack, all that stuff. Then moved to Zeppelin and moved to Deep Purple and Whitesnake, and just kind of like, spend with a lot, just building my musical library. And I try to be versatile. And you never know when I need to pull a thing, or a groove from the bank. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Do you see yourself as part of like a musical scene? Like obviously you were in that group at Bunkers, but like while you were going to school, but like now,
Yeah.
is there a scene that you would say you're part of?
I don't know. I mean, how, if it's, what do you, I don't know. Like, is there a scene? Is there a scene I should be a part of? Help
No,
me.
like no, like like
People
there's
in the comments, let me know what scene I should be a part of. I'm gonna read these comments. I
yeah.
need to know. I would say, uh, the funk universe, I guess, the muso realm. I'm trying to. I'm here in being in Nashville. I'm trying to break more into the session world, and knock on wood, I've been extremely busy in my home studio back there, and it's it's great. That was the biggest gift when the pandemic hit, is being able to record from home for people and try to make a living out of music. But
Yeah.
and also Corey being a freak of musical nature, dropping 8 records in 1 year, that
The,
kind of helped
the guy's
all of
insane,
us.
man. Yeah, the
Yes.
guy's like the most prolific guy in the biz.
I never got it. I did not understand when he was just, hey dude, let's do this. Yeah, sure. And I'm like, send me these tracks, send me this track, send me that track. I'm like, and then other people started hitting me after the Striped album came up, and when people heard I recorded at home, that was a big thing, big session like rise for myself as well. So,
Yeah.
but again, the scene wise, I would say the music realm, and I'm like the session world.
Yeah.
I
Have
don't
you
go
been?
I don't go out much in Nashville as much. I don't play that much out. There's still like the Delta variant. I know I'm talking
Yeah.
in an interview right now, and this is gonna be always on the internet, but it's kind of, you gotta be just careful right now these
Yeah.
days.
Yeah. Have you been doing more session work like during the pandemic? Like, did that,
Yes,
yeah, like that, did that really pick up for you? Or like how much of that,
yes.
I guess, how much of that were you doing before? And
I
like,
was
what
not
did
doing
that
that
sort of
much
turn
at
into?
all.
Yeah.
Basically, I have not recorded drums from my house until the pandemic.
Really?
Yeah, because I moved in June of 2019. I set up the drums, I mic'd it, and did a couple of experimental things. And we went on tour basically August, September, and I was gone till March.
Mm.
And then when I came back with Corey, I immediately hopped on a tour with Scott Mulvihill and played 2 shows, and the pandemic shut us down. I came back home and started figuring it out, like getting more microphones, getting everything together, and figuring out Logic, figuring out how to record myself, how to edit myself. And it was like, again, the first tracks I was sending out, they were not that good. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just whatever.
Yeah.
But calling friends, Corey helped me a lot. He guided me. Corey has that same thing. Like Mike, he was the brutally honest, like, this sucks. Figure this out and fix this. And of course, all right, I'm figuring this out. I'm fixing this. And by the time you came, you asked me to track. I already had like 10 or other 15 projects, and it was great. Like,
Sweet.
I figured how to deliver, how to make the drums sound good, how to just develop raw sounds, and just, I was like going between the phases of kits, what kit I want to use in the studio. And right now, this Yamaha recording custom that's the bee's knees. That's where it's at, and it's awesome.
Nice, man. Yeah, I know. I sort of got into the same thing too, where it's like, initially you just kind of have to figure out stuff for yourself, right?
Yeah,
And then slowly, you work with different people who know what they're doing and can give you that guidance, right? It's the same
right.
thing as like when when you're talking about your mentors, your time in Minneapolis, right? Like it's,
Yeah,
you need that sort of feedback, but also that time to sort of learn and experiment, right?
yeah. You need people to push you, of course. And I don't know. I've been come from a different country, where it's not extremely rich, and it's not like the best living scenario for a musician. You have to do a certain style of music to make a living off of. But in general, like, it was just, I was really lucky and fortunate to come, and I was fortunate and really lucky to have incredible parents that were willing to sacrifice so much to just let an 18-year-old me go move to a different country, live with different people, families, and everything.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just feel like I owe it to them, and I owe it to myself. And I worked so hard to kind of come here. And Gordy puts a really good, like, you can give a horse water, but you cannot make him drink it. All these things were there, and I just seized the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever negative reinforcement came, I just used it even more as a strength. I've seen so many drummers that Michael kind of offered the same thing, where he was like kind of being the honest Michael Bland he is, and so many people took it the wrong way. They didn't understand. And we all have egos. There was moments I had an ego, but it's always try every day. I tell myself, remove the ego from the room. Just just try to take every critique as best as possible, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's
It's a good
really
way to learn.
important.
Yeah.
There's people not trying to diss anyone or anything, you know, like, I mean, being born here, like you have to understand how lucky you are to be born where this thing is happening. Like when I was in Serbia, I would just wait 1 year. Once a year, I would go see a concert, like see the music I love. And here it's like happening 24/7 around you. You
Yeah.
know, it was mind blowing to me. Like, oh man, in Minneapolis, there was a show. There's this band playing every Sunday and Monday, like the music I love and I want
Yeah.
to be a part of. And like, it was like heaven,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, man.
And it's
Um,
everywhere in the world, honestly,
I-
like in the States, at least. I've not been that much. I mean, I've toured. I've never spent like in any country like I much spent here, you know?
mhm. So like I know you're obviously super busy with Corey doing stuff all the time, whether it's recording or like shows seem like they're starting to
Yeah.
come back. But
Yes.
are there any other musicians that you'd like to collaborate with?
Oh, whoever, I mean, yeah, everyone, every musician. I'm always down if there's time. I'm always happy. I mean, I play with Scott. I have dates with him. I already played a few shows with Scott. Played like with a country singer, pop country singer, Aaron Grand. Uh, I do a jam here in Nashville
Hmm.
every Wednesday. I kind of host with some friends in town. But I mean, honestly, I'm always down to collaborate. I'm always down to play music. And if I'm open to the schedule, you just have to send an email or hit me up, and
Yeah.
I'm down. Hey man, I'm always down. I sometimes fly to Minneapolis and play with Dr. Mama's Combo.
Cool.
Also, one of my favorite artists I played for and track for. I don't play with him as much, but it's Alex Rossi, incredible singer songwriter from Minneapolis, incredible guitar player. Love playing with him, and whenever there's an opportunity, I'm always try to hit him up. Hey man, I'm in Minneapolis. Let's do a show
Yeah.
together. So again, but whoever calls, I'm always down.
Nice. So this jam that you mentioned that you host in Nashville, is that sort of
Yes.
like I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but is this sort of like a paying it forward kind of thing? Like with what you got out of playing at Bunkers, are you trying to
Well,
do
it's
that here or
no, it's completely different. I am trying to put something like I did at Bunkers here for sure. I'm talking to my friends here, Elliot, Loftus, and a couple of more friends that we are trying to put like a state like a net R&B B-side nights here in Nashville, but it's just so hard when everyone's touring right now. But this other jam, the Flamingo Jam, the invite is it's a place called the Flamingo Bar. Um, it's basically it's jam. It's just there's no music.
Hmm.
It's literally create on the spot. Ryan Connors or Josh Blaylock, the keyboard players, whoever's playing, they would just start a thing. I would hop in with a groove that I think it's appropriate. Same thing with Jimmy on guitar or Zach on bass. They would start a thing, or even I would just start go. He would just go into something I don't know, and it
Yeah.
would just develop into this whole jam.
Yeah. So so this is just like a closed sort of jam or are other people
Other
welcome to this
people,
sort of
so
thing?
we play a first set. The house play. It's weird how it runs. So the house band plays like the first set and starts the second set, and then it's called the invite. Basically, you have to be invited to play. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, and it's with me. I feel like I'm a nice human. I cannot do the Michael Bland thing, but uh, I don't know. I always have problems like with jams, like when somebody sits in, like, I don't want to tell him that he's not doing good, or but
Yeah.
so we kind of have like other people in charge of the instruments, or like the singer Cav would text me, hey, come back. I just gotta go outside and let it happen and see what happens. And I would just get text, come back, it's not working out. And I would just go back and, hey, somebody told me to come back. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's kind of called the invite. So I mean, there's some incredible players that sit in. I mean, Corey has done it a couple of times.
Sweet.
Daru Jones would come and sit in, and it's just like it's fun. It's really fun.
Cool. Well, man, hopefully, someone gets their start like you did, through this
Yeah.
Flamingo Jam, you know?
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
I did just I always said like people go to Minneapolis. I'm serious. If you can see Michael Blake, if you go to Minneapolis, live there for 2 months, trust me, it's worth it. If
Yeah.
you just make sure that Michael's in town and playing at bunkers, that's the college. If you want to go out get your butt kicked, that's where you go.
Right on. Well, man, thanks so much for having this
Really, of
conversation
course,
with
my
me
brother.
today. This was
Yeah,
great.
man.
Uh
Um,
yeah, so
what's
we're
new with you? What do you got going on? I'm gonna interview you now.
yeah. No, man. No, I'm just still releasing tunes as much as I can, and doing
Yeah,
these interviews, trying to reach out to different people, and just keep it rolling. So yeah, this
awesome.
this has been tons of fun though, man. Like doing these analog dialogue sort of
Love it.
interviews. Yeah, it's been a blast. Got to talk to some people from like my local scene, but then also like the other session players that I've collaborated with too. It's just great to hear from them, and
Yeah,
yeah, it's awesome.
awesome,
Yeah,
dude. So
yeah,
good to hear.
yeah. But yeah, I
Um,
mean, people can hear Petar play
ha,
on Who's Love Here to Stay, the tune that
yeah,
we
with
we did with
Phoebe.
Phoebe. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's
Awesome.
Petar on the drums there in that track. But yeah, man. So where can people find what you're doing?
Instagram,
Yeah.
simple as that. Honestly, uh I'm trying to develop. I'm talking to a couple of friends, and I'm trying to develop a YouTube page, and I just need to like figure it out maybe before the touring life starts again.
Right.
But
Yeah.
right now, I try to drop everything on Instagram. I do these Instagram lives once a week or twice a week where I just basically blab like I'm blabbing now. And I would play drums. People can ask me what they want to know. And I'm upfront and honest. This is it. It's simple as that.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, yeah, I'll have a link
Yeah.
to your Instagram in the description of the video so people can
Sick.
check that out. But
Love it.
yeah, thanks, man. We'll chat soon, eh?
Yes, bro. You take care, my brother.
You too.